Love me do.
The unmistakable sound of the Beatles' first hit, Love Me Do. If the music and lyrics were Lennon and McCartney, then their clothes and haircuts were influenced by their manager, Brian Epstein. Always well turned out, he was a sharp contrast to the group he first saw perform at the Cavern Club in his native Liverpool.
Rather scruffily dressed, in the nicest possible way, or I should say in the most attractive way. Black leather jackets and jeans, long hair, of course, and a rather untidy stage presentation, not terribly aware and not caring very much what they looked like.
He eventually coaxed them out of the leathers and then out of jeans and into sweaters and ultimately into suits.
Dr. Holly Tesler's a Beatles expert at Liverpool University.
And gave them that balance that gave them an edge and made them look cool and cutting edge, but still respectable enough that they could achieve mainstream success without alienating the moms and dads everywhere.
What she got that I ain't got.
The singer Beryl Marsden knew Brian Epstein from the Liverpool music scene of the 1960s and later went on to be a support act on the Beatles' last British tour in 1964.
It actually seemed a bit shy to me, you know, quite unassuming, but very, very smart and incredibly polite. And what we used to, I think I would say, quite posh. But every time I met Brian, it was lovely. It must have been really hard and difficult for him at the time because you couldn't say openly that he was gay. You just couldn't do that at that period of time, you know.
Now a statue of him is being completed in bronze. The plan is for it to stand near the site of his family record store, Nems, which he was running when he first met the Beatles. It'll be the first statue of a gay person in Liverpool.
Okay, in these drawers are the rubber moulds of the scale maquettes of all the statues that I make in the workshop. This one's Brian Epstein.
At his studio in Newcastle-under-Lyme, near Stoke-on-Trent, Andy Edwards has shown me some of the painstaking work that goes into creating his statues. The final version of Brian Epstein will show him striding towards the Cavern Club with a copy of the contract to manage the Beatles in his hand. It's been a collaboration between Andy and fellow sculptor Jane Robbins. Jane also happens to be Paul McCartney's cousin.
We were at a family party and I sort of sidled up to him and said, "I've sculpted Brian Epstein, do you want to see it?" And he said, "Yeah." So I said, so I got my phone out and just showed him the pictures of the finished clay. And we stood for quite a while and he scrolled in very closely and he said, "Bleep, bleep, bleep, Janie, that's dead good, that."
He obviously means a lot to Paul and the rest of the band and other people who knew him. But he means a lot to ordinary people as well, from all kinds of diverse backgrounds. So one of the great hopes for this statue is that it kind of brings people together under those values that Brian kind of exemplifies. Beauty, from the way he dressed and the way he styled the Beatles and the way he approached what was a new media, really. And courage to be a person of the background and type that he was, to step into the unknown. And that's what the statue stands for. If people respond to that in the way we hope, then it'll be of value.
In 2015, a statue of the Beatles, also by Andy Edwards, was unveiled on Liverpool's waterfront. 7 years on, the statue of Brian Epstein is awaiting final planning approval from the City Council. It's perhaps a fitting tribute to a man who helped shape and mould one of the most influential bands of all time.